The Warden of the Paunch brings two new exciting lords to Total War Warhammer. One of them, the High Elf Eltharion, we all know, my favorite character in the game, followed by Grom the Paunch for the Greenskins, and an FLC Lord of Imrik, Prince of Caledor. So in a two-part video series here, I'm going to be covering all of the new units added to the High Elves, and then we're going to do a little battle with the High Elves in a multiplayer match, probably with Turn or something of the sort. Now, followed after that, we're also going to do a video for the Greenskins, covering all the new Greenskins units, as well as Grom the Paunch himself, and a subsequent battle of their ilk, if you want to call it that. Now, I'm going to be going over the new DLC units, obviously Imrik, Eltharion, and all of the new campaign units for both factions in both videos. So for right now, we'll be doing the High Elf one, and then a little bit later today, you'll be able to see the Greenskins video where we go into a unit guide for those new units as well. And then tomorrow, I'll be doing a stream of Eltharion the Grimm, covering the Warden of Ivris, and we've got a poll up on the channel deciding which one we're going to do between Mortal Empires or Vortex Campaign, and I'll make that decision on the actual second that we press stream. So if you want to see the campaign in its fullest, go ahead and tune in tomorrow bright and early in the morning. I think it's around 11 a.m., 10 a.m. I'll put up a warning on the channel here, which you'll be able to watch that stream. So let's dive into this quick new unit guide before we do a battle. We shall start this out by talking about Eltharion the Grimm, the Warden of Tor Ivris. Now this bad boy here has got quite the kit. I did not turn it on because I wanted to be able to go through all these little nodes down here very easily, but he does have full access to high magic, so you can use all the high magic spells on Eltharion himself, just like we had in his tabletop version. Now, he's got two items here, as well as one ability. And his item is the Fang Sword of Eltharion. It imbues him with magic damage, which is quite nice, and it also gives him 25% armor-piercing weapon damage increase and a 44% physical resistance increase. This rune-encrusted longsword has been passed down through Eltharion's family for generations, bestowing unto him the zeal of his forefathers. So if we already take a look at his weapon strength as is, 450 with 300 of it being AP damage is quite juicy. So it's going to get a 25% bonus on top of that, and going to do magic damage, and going to give him that 44% physical resistance. In addition, I mean, he already has the Shield of Sapphire as a lore attribute for the lore of high magic. So he's also going to be getting damage resistance benefits from the ward save benefit from this if he uses any spells. So it's a nice little stack of defensive capabilities. Now he also has the Helm of Ivris, kind of further increasing that defensive posture of Eltharion. This is a defensive character, although he is the first true hybrid character for the High Elves, in the sense that he is both a melee combatant and a strong caster. He is still very defensive focused, and the Helm of Ivris makes it so that entities die or cannot die while the ability is active. So the target is either a self or an ally, and they're also unbreakable. So if you have a very high value unit, you have yourself, you have a hero you want to keep alive, you can pop the Helm of Ivris, and for 17 seconds, entities cannot die. This is just like we get with the Red-Crested Skink Regiment of Renown, wherein they will fight and lose health down to 1 hit point, but not lose any actual models. Meaning that a Regrowth, an Apotheosis, an Earthblood is going to really recover a lot of health here, because they're not regenerating slain models, they're regenerating just pure health, which is just lovely. Now, in addition to that, we also have this ability, Mistwalker's Barrage. Now, this one's very interesting. It's just like the Lizardman's Regiment of Renown, the big, I keep wanting to say Stegodon, but I'm just going to roll with it here. So for every 30 seconds, a Mistwalker's Barrage will go off for 4 seconds around Eltharion. And an enemy is hit by the bombardment in melee combat will take a lot of damage. Of course, it does more damage to lightly armored than it does to heavily armored, but it's still definitely worth taking a look at here, because especially as you see in the battle we're about to do, watching this thing just kind of rain down and do shotgun damage really kind of helps Eltharion again play to that defensive kind of stance where, okay, he's surrounded, he's got a lot of just budget spearmen on top of him, he's got Mistwalker's Barrage, which is naturally going to go off for you. It's going to clear out some of those spearmen so you can get out of that engagement. The rest of his kit, though, is to be expected. Fear, Terror from Stormwing, his lovely Griffin here. Griffin's, of course, being added, looking beautiful. And his is a unique Griffin. This is exactly the way that the Griffin looked in the tabletop. 100 armor, making him a little less armor than a lot of the other hybrid lords that we've seen out there. But nice leadership, speed, 54 melee attack is quite juicy, and 44 melee defense, as well as 450 weapon strength and 80 charge bonus. But let's go ahead and jump on over to the hero section that has been either refined or added with this DLC. All right, and here we have all of the new flavors of Mage as well as Archmage added for the High Elves. Now, there's no Archmages in this display here. This is just strictly the Mages. They have a little bit more finery on them, and the Archmages can also ride the Arcane Phoenix, which we'll go through into a little bit. So what this does here is it's going to be giving us access to every single lore for the High Elves. You can see here that we've got, beasts, that was shadows, death, heavens, high, life, light, metal, and then shadows, which is probably one of my favorite. Looks just like badass. It's like I'm looking at all of the Voltron lions, but with other additional colors added into the spectrum. But you're probably wondering, where is the Fire Mage? Well, the Fire Mage brings us... Oh, Eltharion, get out of here. You're not supposed to be here. The Fire Mage brings us what we would have had in a Dragon Mage. So the Fire Mage has access to a Sun Dragon mount. It's the only thing different from really the other mages. It can ride a Sun Dragon. Now, of course, the Dragon Mage had a lot of really cool ornate armor, and its lore spell, rather than it being Fireball, was Flaming Sword of Ruin. That's really the only difference between a Dragon Mage and a Mage. Or a Mage of Fire in this case. So I just wanted to kind of showcase these real quick because the models are really awesome looking. Every single one of them looks different according to the lore that they are specializing in. You can see all of the motifs on their armor are just a little bit different. And on the Archmages, it's even more elaborate as they have these really cool headdresses and so on and so forth. But I just wanted to, again, showcase these very quickly. Now, the first of our new units here are the new High Elf Rangers. Now, these units I thought were actually going to be the Sea Guard, the sword and shield variant with light armor. Instead, we get these cool High Elf Rangers, and they're pretty interesting. They kind of fit somewhere kind of like in the Black Ark Corsair realm, but with way less armor. They've got 30 armor, and they've got 28 and 24 in melee attack and melee defense. In addition here, they do have a nice amount of AP for having 7. I mean, it's not a whole ton, but they're anti-infantry, and they're very cheap in both a multiplayer and in a single-player scenario. You can get these guys right out the gate. So, also, they've got Force Shredder and Dodge. Dodge is going to give them some physical resistance of 20%. So while they don't have a ton of armor, and they don't have any innate missile resistance from missile parry or missile block from bronze or silver shields, they still get physical resistance here, which is quite nice. And they also have martial prowess. So their melee defense, actually, if I were to press start right now, it would bump up to 36, which is pretty damn good with 30 melee attack. Of course, as soon as they drop below 50% base health, they're going to lose that. But I think that this is a really nice, very interesting unit added to the game. And you can take a look at their generic stance here. It's not a tightly packed High Elf unit. It is nice and open. So even though they're going to be taking range fire, it's not going to be as condensed as it would, say, for a High Elf Spearman unit. I actually really like the Rangers as a very fun melee-centric option to the early game for the High Elves that was really kind of stagnant, right? You were really forced to just play with archers and spearmen, and then eventually Lothern Sea Guard until you were able to finally unlock the top tiers. But now the Rangers add a nice little spice in there at a pretty cheap point cost as well. Now, we talked about the Spearmen, now time to talk about the Silverin Guard, which are the new kind of halfway point between Spearmen and Phoenix Guard. These are the new units added with Torivris, and they have a special campaign version of these and of the Rangers, which we'll go into at the very end of this portion or segment of the video. So they've got special enchanted armor, which gives them some nice magic resistance at 30%. They have got also expert charge defense, giving them charge defense versus all versus just the charge defense of large of your normal spearman unit. They've got nice silver shields, a good amount of armor at 75, melee attacks at 28, which will be 30 with martial prowess, and 42 with melee defense with martial prowess, bringing it up to 54. And again, obviously they've got martial prowess. And anti-large. I think that these guys are a very interesting addition to the game. In campaign, I see them as a stronger addition. In multiplayer, I don't see them as a huge advantage. I look at the Rangers and the White Lions Chariots as something that'll be included in multiplayer play more so than the Silverin Guard, because I'd rather just take spearmen and have them hold the line while I use the rest of my army to do the real portion of the damage. I think the biggest benefit for the Silverin Guard from a multiplayer perspective is the fact that they've got charge defense versus all, thus negating the charge bonus of even-based infantry charging into them, which actually makes them for a lot more of a defensive unit, but still an amazing unit nonetheless, and one that I've actually did not see coming. I've never even heard of these in any way, so I was pretty stoked to see something new. Okay, easily like the biggest highlight of the DLC for me for the High Elves, I think, is this right here. The White Lion Chariot is amazing. Amazing! I think it is so awesome looking. It is just too true to form, and it is beautiful. It does a ton of damage. It is really more like the Gore Beast Chariot than it is any other chariot in the game. What I like about this is that it is a heavy AP anti-infantry damage chariot, one that we had talked about that would probably be coming if they did White Lion Chariots, and it is, again, true to form. I think my only problem with the White Lion Chariot is this. Look at those white lions. Those things look insane. Look at the white lion on his shoulder. Look at the white lion here. Look at the white lion on his shoulder. Look at the white lion here. He looks nuts. He looks like a little cracked out. A little scared of that white lion. But we also get the lion pelt here, giving him some missile resistance. Ooh, oops, right there. For 30% missile resistance on top of this, giving that nice 80 armor, a good melee defense at 28 martial prowess, bringing that up to, again, 40. And then melee attack at 34, bringing it to 36 with martial prowess as well. But I did want to talk about another portion of the White Lion Chariots that is exciting. Alistair the White Lion gets his own White Lion Chariot mount option. So you can actually mount this big badass on a White Lion Chariot and just have him ride dirty through the opposition here. So it's going to be very fun to have him included in your hiring him as a lord, and now giving him a White Lion Chariot to ride with all of his other White Lion bros. Really stoked on this addition to the game. Well, since we've talked about the chariot, we might as well talk about the new unit, the War Lion unit that is sans the chariot. So the War Lions of Chrace are this kind of in-between unit of not necessarily something like a scurvy dog, which is a very fast type of skirmish dog cav unit. Instead, the War Lions of Chrace kind of add that nicer stopping power. They have a unit size of 18, so again, larger or smaller unit size, more in line with Norscan Ice Hounds, and way more damage. AP and anti-infantry here at 50 weapon strength, which is quite nice. They also get Forest Strider as well, which is going to help them ignore those penalties for difficult terrain. They cause fear, and they also have the missile resistance of 20 because they have the pelt that the White Lions of Chrace wear. So they're going to get that natural missile resistance here. So I love these new units because I think that they do a nice job of adding a lot of backline security to the High Elves. This is something that can chase down anything that goes to swarm through your backline, attacking your archers. Typically you'd use Illyrian Reaver archers for this, but now you've got something that provides a much bigger punch and can also flank around your flanks and do some damage to your enemy or get into their backline. Now, in addition, we also have the Regiment Renown version, Rahagra's Pride. Now, Rahagra is the father of all White Lions and a staunch friend of Kuranos. They fought for like 3 days or something like that. 3 days and a night type thing. And they, again, follow a very similar profile. Of course, they're going to be a rank 9 version, so you're going to get more leadership, melee attack, and melee defense. But we also get this ability, the Mighty Roar. Now, this is going to reduce leadership and speed in a 40-meter radius for 25 seconds. So it's a really nice way to kind of lock something down, or at least slow them down and do a ton more damage to them. Hopefully even capitulate their morale entirely so you can just continue to push that initiative here. I'm really stoked on these guys being added into the game because it's not something that I really expected as a standalone unit. And I think that it does actually have a very strong place, much in a way that's I find better than the Silverin Guard. The Silverin Guard I could have done without, but I think that the War Lions of Chrace and the Rangers add a lot of nice utility to the High Elf roster and helping to kind of keep their fighting viability up. And our last of the new High Elf, just units that are not campaign focused, are the Arcane Phoenixes. Now these are badasses. One of them is actually called the Omen of Assyrian. That's the Regiment Renown, but they act as this harbinger, this omen of Assyrian, the messenger of Assyrian. And they've got some pretty interesting abilities. So they have Ember Storm, which we'll showcase in just a little bit, and it does a ton of magic and fire damage. I really, really like it. It's 11-second attack, and it just rips through stuff. Then they also get the Fiery Rebirth. This is customary of every single Phoenix. Well, of the Flame Spire Phoenix and this one. And they also get Attuned to Magic, which is an ability from the Frostheart Phoenix, which adds that heavy durability here, the 12% damage resistance. They get Fear and Terror as well, then 70% fire resistance and 20% physical resistance. And they have a nice amount of AP damage at 300, and again, flaming and magic attacks. Pretty awesome. Now, comparing it here to the Omen of Sirion, the Omen of Sirion is going to get 11 and 10 more at melee attack and defense, as well as 10 more leadership by virtue of the fact that it is rank 9. But it also gets an additional ability here, the Omen of Hope. So anything around 55-meter radius around the Omen of Sirion gets immune to psychology. And the Omen of Hope is one of the upgrades from the Monstrous Arcana. We took a look at this on the lore video that we did covering the Arcane Phoenix. So before we jump over to Imrik and the campaign units, I'm going to start this really quick and show you guys how Ember Storm looks. It's sick. Just roasting damage, and it just stays there the whole time, roasting anything in the radius around it. I love Ember Storm. I feel like the Flamespire Phoenix is really cool, but I think at the same time, the biggest issue with the Flamespire Phoenix is having to kind of micromanage those little bombs. This time I can just do it once. It does a massive amount of damage the second it drops, and continues to do it, and frees up the Phoenix to move around while it continues to do damage. I'm very stoked on the Arcane Phoenix. And also, the Archmage can use these as a mount, so can Teclis. So, an amazing addition to the High Elf roster. Here we have Imrik, the Prince of Calador on Menathnir, his dragon. Let's take a look at his abilities. Look at that dragon tail. Look at those huge star dragon this thing is. Beastly. So he's also, this is the Knights of Calador, the special white and red of this faction, which is pretty sick. I really like it. But we get the standard Star Dragon Breath, nothing crazy here. But we also get a Star Lance, and this is different than the Star Lance that already exists in the game. It imbues fire damage, flammable, as well as 25% AP weapon damage, 50% charge bonus, and a 25% increase to charge speed, making him just so devastating on the charge. It depends on if he's on his dragon mount. He has a dragon barded or dragon prince barded Ithalmar horse that he can ride, or of course Menathnir here. Now, in addition, he also gets the Dragon Horn. Again, different than the one that already exists in the game. It increases melee attack and can cause fear map-wide for 16 seconds. It's not a 40-meter radius. This is the entire map for all the High Elves that Imrik is controlling. In addition, lastly, we've got the Lord of Dragons, a 30-second hex on an enemy within a 150-meter radius, and it's a massive reduction of 24 melee defense and a 40 melee attack. Now, this is going to be very good when you're playing through Imrik's campaign and you're trying to focus down any of the epic dragons, but bringing him in any kind of multiplayer scenario is going to make him a just destroyer of worlds. With the Lord of Dragons coupled with the Star Lance, he's going to be able to do so much damage on the charge if you can really kind of 1-2 punch this. Even so, if you add Dragonhorn into that, you're going to get such a huge bonus to your melee attack. So he's at 70, this will bring it to 94. He's going to get a huge amount of melee attack with a massive weapon strength bonus from the Star Lance. So he's got a really good wombo combo built into all of his new abilities. And our last little segment here is going over all of the new campaign units for Tor Ivris. Now we've got the Athel Tamara Faith Bearers. Now, these guys pretty much just have your standard sword and shield. They're essentially the same thing as the Silverin Guard, but with 5 more armor and getting that sword and shield plus frenzy. It's quite nice. They also get an ability called Grim Resolve in campaign that is not matched out over here to multiplayer, but we'll go over that when we jump into the campaign tomorrow. We've also got the Sentinels of Asarnil over here. Now these guys are essentially Lothern Seaguard on crack. They're even better. So they get their anti-large, they get their charge defense versus large. They've got silver shields here, nice amount of melee attack and defense. Exponentially more defense than attack, of course, but they also get shield breaker, minus 24 to missile parry on all of their shots, and a 215 range, making them the longest ranged infantry archer unit in the game that I am aware of. You guys can correct me in the comments, but this is the furthest reaching one that I'm aware of that is an infantry unit. Jumping over here now to the Spire Guard of Tor Ibris, we have something, again, very similar to the Lothern Sea Guard, but these ones don't have shields. And they also get Unbreakable built into their kit, as well as Encourage. So they're really going to be great at holding that back line and adding a lot of anchoring to the line. 180 range, as to be expected here, and then anti-large into their kit. So a little bit less defensive, more of a backline style archer with a lot more armor built into it. Then on the front, we've got these Sky Shards, which are basically like very well armored Shadow Walkers. So looking at these guys, we have a nice 80 armor again, 43 anti-infantry melee attacks, and 17 anti-infantry range shots at 100. They can also Vanguard, fire whilst moving, and stalk. So they're really, really interesting here. I'm sorry, Shadow Warriors, not Shadow Walkers. So they're very interesting Shadow Warrior type hybrid characters that offer a lot of really cool utility. And the last one are the Knights of Tor Gaval. Look at these badasses. All of them on Griffins. All of them looking just sweet as hell with those helmets. Loving it. So we get a nice heavy AP kind of shock flying monstrous cav unit here. It's got Encourage built into it as well. And it does have some missile resistance at 25. Kind of low on the armor at 80, but and a pretty low melee defense at 32, but a nice melee attack at 50 and a good 300 weapon strength means you're going to be cyclocharging these guys a lot. Let's jump into a battle and see how a lot of these parts play into the full motion of everything, and then you can see this in motion in the campaign that we're going to be running tomorrow, streamed live on the channel. All right, we're here with our battle. Now, it's going to be High Elves versus Warriors of Chaos, and alongside me will be Dav Plays. I've gone with a bit of a thematic build, using a lot of White Lions and White Lion Chariots, along with 2 Archers, Sisters of Avalorn, a supporting unit of Spearmen in the back, the Arcane Phoenix, and the mighty Eltharion, as well as 2 units of Rangers. Let's see this bad boy going underway. Good old live battle here, as we get things ready to go and square off against the mighty Dav Plays. All right. Things are underway. We're going to get this one going here. Going to move up our front line. I haven't played in so long. I am just garbage. I am so garbage. And everything moving up here. Remember there was a time when I used to consider myself a decent Total War player. Now, I know nothing. The issue is here, we do not have any skirmish cav. Those Marauder Horsemen are going to be able to pretty much challenge me unmitigated throughout the battlefield. I'm going to try to use Eltharion the best of my ability to try and focus down the mighty Cluck Lord himself, Sarthorior. Don't want any of that clucking in. Coming over there, that big old beak of his. Now, the Rangers don't really have any resistance here, so we're going to have to just charge them right into combat. Get them going right down the pipe here. There, get that over there. We're going to get the Arcane Phoenix over there, this over there. Right over here into the Chaos Marauders. Fortunately, I can't be doing much. I'm going to bring this over here. Hold down Alt, try and do some damage in this little pocket here. It's not looking too awesome. Arcane Unforging right there. Dropping right down onto the Big Daddy, bringing in those guys as well. Got those archers. Didn't even really pay much attention to them. They're just getting swarmed right now. Now we can bring our White Lion Chariot over here, try and help out a little bit as well. That's right, get in that fight, Eltharion. Do the damage that I need you to do. And the nice thing we were saying about the White Lion Chariots is they can really actually kind of hold their own a little bit better than most chariot units. I've pretty much just kind of taken a look at our archers and kind of thrown them to the wind here. I mean, we're getting on there. We're getting on there. Keeping a heal here on that action. These focusing right there. Just get him just going right after Sarthi. Back up in the air there. There's our White Lion Chariot. Good, good. Kind of push right through that. Oh, we're getting swarmed. The least we could do is at least kill Sarthoriel. I'll take that as a win if we can get that down. Jumping over there. This is going to be Red Root. Oh, no! The dogs come, they slaver. Come on, come on, come on. Get back up in the air, get back up in the air. Oh no. Get an Apotheosis cast off. If we can get at least this thing up in the air, we'll be able to get another Ember Storm going right here. There, come down around Eltharion. Oh. And I mean, take a look at that. I mean, that thing's been taking a lot of damage, which is pretty nice. 1, 2, 3 punch. Swinging right back on Sartorial. Interestingly enough, the Arcane Phoenix went back on the ground, and I did not want him to do. Oh, get him! Get him! Oh, I'll take it. Killed by the barrage there at the very end. That barrage is the those little like slivers dropping down are the barrage effect from his Mistwalker barrage, which is actually pretty nice there. Sweeping in, doing some damage. Dov's coming in pretty hot and heavy and showing me the business end of his stick here. I see Judo chops Eltharion quite heavily. Definitely did not have an awesome build here. Went with some fun with the White Lions of Chrace, and I definitely paid the iron price for that. We'll just pop that. Why the heck not? The Knight of Ivres. Man. I am overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed. Batman doesn't know how to fan this one alone. So unfortunately, I couldn't save this replay and cast it after the fact. We were dealing with a little bit of a sync issue here, but Dob was nice enough to do a little live little combat cast with me. And again, taking a look at my build, absolutely garbage. I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. I will say the White Lion Chariot performed pretty well, considering the fact that I really just kind of pushed it into combat and didn't micro it very well. Eltharion was able to do a lot of damage to Sartorial quickly, but he wasn't properly supported with any other unit. Had I maybe really kind of reassessed this, I probably would have gone with more spearmen and some silver helms and or dragon princes instead. I just wanted to kind of go heavier on the White Lion of Chrace motif here. I wanted to even put War Lions into this, figuring, oh, okay, I'll countercharge some of the Chaos Warhounds, but unfortunately, I really wanted to showcase the Arcane Phoenix more so than anything. And that Ember Storm ability on the Arcane Phoenix is actually very strong. I mean, it only got a whopping 20 kills in total here, but overall, I'll say that I really enjoy the Arcane Phoenix. I think it's not the most competitive pick. I think, honestly, the biggest standout units for me in the High Elf roster right now with this new DLC are the White Lion Chariot. I think it's a much needed heavy AP anti-infantry anchor to the High Elf front line. And I really actually like Eltharion's role as a kind of defensive but still heavy damage dealing legendary lord for the High Elves. I think he actually adds quite a bit of value to the competitive meta when it comes to his kit. The fact that he can use Apotheosis on himself, he has the ability to negate things from dying, himself included, with his own abilities, and his Fang Sword is so powerful for just getting a lot of burst damage in. In addition, the ability to do the Mistwalker barrage and everything around him, I think really makes Eltharion an amazing new legendary lord for the High Elves. But I want to thank you guys so much here for watching today. Please don't forget to check out Dov Plays channel. He's got a ton of battles that he's been doing with all the new Greenskins content, and he's going to be covering the rest of the early access DLC as it comes out here. He's been doing streams the past couple days as well. I think he's actually been playing Azag or Wurzog. I can't remember 100%. But please go and check out Dov Plays channel. You're going to find a link to that in the description and the comment section below. But in a little bit, we'll be jumping over to the Greenskin end of the spectrum, showing off those Greenskin units, showing off that Greenskin battle, and as well as some other fun stuff. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of fun action, and let me know in the comment section below what you're enjoying the most about all of these not leaks, but all of these teasers for the new DLC. What's like the one thing that you're really hyped up about or excited the most about with the Warden and the Paunch? As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one and take care.